This is Unplugged, a series of conversations with creative minds from the design industry and beyond, hosted by H&H.
Hello everyone, today we have Sabine Marcelis, one of the hottest names in the collectible design scene from the Netherlands with us. So hello Sabine, how are you today?
Hi Yoko, I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for making time. I know this is a very busy time for you. So where are you at today?
I'm in Rotterdam, the Netherlands, my home. Saturday morning, taking it easy today.
Yeah, exactly. I really like the painting.
Yeah, it's a mural by a friend of ours,
Wow.
Thomas Trum. He
Oh,
came
yeah,
here
of
and
course.
did it by hand.
Oh, cool.
Quite
Very
awesome to watch.
beautiful. Yeah, so I think we last spoke like in August 2020. So it feels like a very long time ago. How is things going for you?
Yeah, you know, like everyone adapting to this crazy new reality. Work-wise, I have a lot of really exciting, fun projects, which I'm super grateful for. Obviously, a lot of the projects surrounding installation stuff that would be happening during fairs all got put on hold. But at the same time, definitely seen some kind of a increase in like private commissions, people with like beautiful homes that want something special there. Also, yeah, a few really big projects in Asia. Super diverse, actually. A lot of different things going on, more interior, big projects, and also some completely no clients, just private passion work for myself as well.
Oh, well, we would love to hear more about the private work. I think that would be the interesting things to look into. So I noticed that your collaboration with IKEA has been a very hot topic these days. I think this is something very new for you as well. And it is going to be launched next week in the market, right?
Yeah, I think it's sort of just trickling in different sort of timing for different countries. I saw that it's already available in some countries and others it's going to take a bit longer, but in general it's from like now until May being launched in different countries. Yeah, but
Cool.
no, I'm really excited about it. It's definitely a very different way of working than I'm used to, but
Yeah.
it's been a good challenge in that sense as well. Really having to think about designing from a very different perspective.
Yeah, that's the exact question I would like to talk to you about. So you work with some of the biggest design galleries around the world, and you also work a lot with like designer brands like Established and Sons and CC Tapis, and the audience are very targeted and high end. So, but for IKEA, this project is completely at the other end of the design market spectrum. So how is it like for you? Are there any differences in terms of your creative process, and how do you what's your experience with different clients in different sectors and the audience as well?
Yeah, I think I've been very lucky actually to have always been able to just design from a fascination point of view and working with expensive materials, expensive production processes, and I've never really had a price point in mind at the end of the trip, that it's just the object or the installation becomes what it is, and we roll with that. Obviously working towards an object that can be available for a much wider audience, it meant that it really had to be a very affordable price point. So when I was first asked or first approached by IKEA, I did have to think about it for a minute, like, oh my God, how do I translate my way of working? And I always try to capture like a moment of wonder or some magic. And how do you put that in a 30 € object? And obviously, I also think when you're designing something that's going to be mass produced at this scale, the materiality is very important as well. And I for sure didn't want it to be like a cheap commercial version of my gallery work. And in no way did I want to include any kind of like resins or plastics in this lamp. So then the challenge was really, okay, how do we create a light object that still has this wow moment? Just a lot of experimenting with, in the beginning it was paper, So I actually wanted to make the lamp out of paper to begin with, just a single sheet, also, making it as little resources needed to create the item. So just one sheet, and how do you create an interesting lighting effect with that sheet? And then, I ended up with slashing the sheet so that the light can escape through that one slash, and also bounce back off the wall from behind, around the circle. That's what it ended up being.
Great. I can't wait to see the actual object.
For sure, the main concept around it was to be able to change the atmosphere of a space with just a single pressing of a button, which changes the color, and that this object can have much more of an effect than just be a sculptural light on the wall. It can be dynamic in the environment as well.
Great. You mentioned something very interesting. I think sustainability is a very important aspect of your work, and it's also a very big topic now in the design or creative scene. So through your project with IKEA, so can we say that sustainability can also achieved in such a big, mass market brand or company? What's your experience?
It's a very big part of IKEA's ethos. Actually, they're really trying to create or be responsible, because they're such a big player in the design world. So everything they put out needs to be designed in a conscious way. And I very much respect that about them. And they have really a long-term plan that, with goals that everything can be returned and reused. So I think that's really great. And of course, there's always going to be elements that are not going to be recyclable, reusable right now, but to have that vision for the future, I think, is extremely important.
Yeah, you're right. We all have to do our little part to contribute to a better future.
For sure.
So you also work with a lot of fashion brands, like, well, just name a few, like Burberry, Givenchy, Celine, and of course Fendi. And I remember I did the first interview with you exactly for the project you were working with Fendi at that time for Design Miami. So can you tell us about, because I think that's one of the best example of how you work with colors and materials. And it's also fascinating that how you incorporate water into your work. So as a material of the whole design. So can you tell us something about that project?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the way that I work, or the thing that makes me tick, is to really play with the interaction of light and materials that have the ability to be transparent, opaque, all levels in between, that can have a reflection or a shadow. I think that's the most interesting thing to design around, all those interactions with materials that can do that, which is also the reason why I work a lot with cast resins and glass, because those are materials that can be manipulated in that manner. So I use light as a design tool. I use color as a design tool. And I think when Fendi approached me to design an installation for their 10-year anniversary of them collaborating with Design Miami, I 100% didn't want to create a furniture range. I thought that was just really not inspiring, not challenging, and not sort of forward thinking in any way. It would be more of repeating what's already been done in the past years. And I always want to be pushing forward and creating something that surprises people. And there is definitely a design language I use, but I do hope with each new project that I create something that people are not expecting. So with Fendi, I dug into their brand history, and this theme of water kept popping up. So then I was like, my God, I need to design with water, because if you think about it, water it's just like glass and resin. It's transparent. You can also tint it. Well, there's, it reflects, there's ripples. There's so much going on with water, depending on how it's used, how it's moving. And I think this element of motion was super exciting for me, because that adds a new tool to design with. How does water flow? How do you shape water? That's also the name of the installation in the end, the shapes of water. So then the challenge was to create 10 fountains, which all deal with water in a different way. So they all shape water in a very different way. and water interacts with the fountain itself, which is also made from resin in different tints. And the colors I used were very much also taken from the Fendi world. So that I think the collaboration was really an example of how a brand and a designer can come together and create something bigger than separately. I sometimes think that designer collaborations with brands can just become a watered down version of a designer's vision, but it can also really become something more. And I really feel that that's what happened with the Fendi project. I don't think I would have done it in that way at all if I was just a designer fountain myself. So it was really two worlds meeting.
It was really beautiful, and I really like when you walk around all the fountains and the experience and the relationship you develop with the flow and everything. It was just so beautiful.
No, good to hear.
And I noticed that you recently also did like a fountain installation in Shanghai too. Is that right?
It's not unveiled yet. So this is a project in the making. We're
Cool.
We're currently still working on it and expecting it to be finished within 2021. But yeah, it's a big project. They're very big fountains.
And it would be like a permanent installation.
Exactly. Yeah. So really a different scale, different country, different scenario, and yeah, very cool. And I'm very humbled that they commissioned me to do this project there. But I will tell you more about it when there's more available.
Keep us posted. Yes, please do. I really want to see that. And also, I noticed that you have been doing quite a lot of architectural interventions this year. And can you tell us something about that project too? Because it was kind of a challenging scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. There was also a fountain in there, actually.
Cool. Love it.
Love everything can be a fountain. Yeah. Well, yeah, to be honest, I was speaking with my gallerist in Barcelona, Luis Sandino from Side Gallery, and he asked me what my dream project would be. And it was almost a joke because I was, like a solo show in the Barcelona pavilion. And then, he somehow made it happen.
Wow, amazing.
So, yeah, I was like, oh my God, wow, really? They would like me to take on this, insanely iconic architectural gem, which is, it's completely, it's perfect as is. I feel like kind of touching it is already doing an injustice to the architecture. So yeah, it took a long time to really be able to define exactly how and what should be placed in this installation. And in the end, it became also a very limited amount of pieces I designed for the installation. There were 2 chaise longues, a light, and a fountain, and that was it. I wanted to keep it really minimal, so it wasn't going to be overbearing on the pavilion itself, but really also celebrating the materiality of the pavilion. So the project was called No Fear of Glass, and all the design pieces were made from glass. And this was kind of a nod to the brief that Mies van der Rohe originally got, which was not to use too much glass. And yeah, the project really celebrates the architectural planes and how do you translate that into furniture pieces. So the chaise longue is really the travertine floor is almost been pulled up, and then the marble wall has been pulled out, or the colors have been almost stretched out of the wall and intersecting with the travertine, and that becomes the chaise longue. And for the fountain, there's these 2 big pools in the pavilion, which are very much part of the architecture. So I also wanted to treat the water as a material in this project. And again, it's about pulling the water up and letting it overflow, and just, it was about extruding the architecture and making it into functional elements.
It's great. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. And how about the study center at in the Rotterdam?
Yes. So here in Rotterdam, the National Archive of Architecture and Design is housed in Het Nieuw Instituut, which is a building just over there. And they have this really amazing archive that anyone can access to get to this big archive of architecture. But the space itself is very dated, very heavy, a lot of this black heavy USM furniture. And I was asked to update it to make it a more pleasant space to study in, and just to give it a bit of a facelift. Completely didn't want to make something like wipe everything that's there away and plop down my design. I think there's always a sense of respect that you need to have for what's already there and the original architect's vision. So, and also for a sustainability sense, actually, I don't want to just throw away everything that's there that still functions fine. So all this really, in my opinion, USM furniture it's genius. It's such an amazing system just in the space, because there was not so much natural light coming in. The black surfaces on the USM furniture made it just very heavy. So instead of getting rid of all of that, I simply changed the material into this transparent glass with a color wash going through it. And it brings so much light back into the space. But it can still be used essentially the same way as it was before, but optimized. So that was kind of my intervention in this space. And also adding some new more sort of casual areas with couches, so that you can study and sit in a bit more of a casual manner than only behind tables.
So when you approach a space, it's very important for you to have the correct lighting and the flow of energy or space or movement.
I think that's what
how do you approach a space?
I think that's what makes a space pleasant to be in or not. The way that the light hits it, or the way that it evolves during the day, or the temperature of artificial light used can really have such an impact on your mental and emotional state when you're in a space. Also with the study center, it wasn't part of the brief at all, but we ended up ripping out part of the facade and replacing it with glass so that more natural light could come in as well. And even just that already was 90% of the job done. I feel like just letting the light come in and making it pleasant in that sense.
Yeah, especially for times like this, we really need that positive energy flowing in the space, and the light is really important.
100%.
Cool. I remember you told me you're experiencing with some new materials that you haven't been using so far. So what's the developments there? Will we see something from you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always developing different experiments within materials. They just pop out in projects whenever they're ready. So yeah, I can't really give you like one concrete example right now, but definitely more with metals and also wood, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think people obviously know my work from resin and glass, but I don't want to be sort of boxed into just that material. It can be much broader as well. Yeah, I'm for sure experimenting more with those materials too now.
So last questions for you. I know that you're part of a charity project, 19 Chairs, and there will be an auction very soon in May. Can you tell us what you have been doing for this charity, and how do you want people to participate?
So 19 Chairs, I was approached by Tom and Will Butterfield already quite some time ago. Yeah, time is all like blending into nothingness now. I have to like dig back into my brain what we did. Well, essentially they made 19 very simple wooden chairs made from wooden beams, and then asked 19 different designers and artists to customize it in their own way. So for the chair that I got, it was a very simple intervention to make it more comfortable, which was the addition of a rubber layer over the seated section and the back section. There's a little touch from each designer, and then they will be auctioned off, which I think is amazing. I think there's a lot of auctions happening lately, and I feel like it's such a good initiative, because you know, there's a lot of people that are in very difficult times at the moment. And if we can, you know, partake in this way,
Yes.
I think that's amazing. Also, a few years ago, Maria Cristina Diderot and Libby Sellers initiated another charity auction asking different designers to make holiday gifts, and then all the proceeds went to homeless people in London. Also the just actually yesterday a new collection of wallpapers was released by Calico Wallpaper, and I created one of those as well as Dimore Studio. And just I think it's great that even with something like that, some of the proceeds are going to charity as well. So I think we have to keep charities in mind continuously in this industry, because we create items that people want to buy. So it can be, the proceeds can always be shared with others that are less fortunate.
Yes, that's very true. I think also in the past years, we all have time to reflect on our work and to see how we can contribute to the community. So I think this is a great way for designers or artists or like all kind of creative to give the 2 cents into a good cause. Yeah,
absolutely.
Great. Thank you so much, Sabine, for the chat. It's always nice speaking with you, and look forward for all the new works that's coming out soon.
Great.
Yeah. Cool.
Nice to speak with you, Yoko.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you next time. Ciao.